Hi, it's Crystal Rain here. I decided to do something a little bit different this time. So I took an Instagram poll and some people wanted to see a video about me and Gabe. So we're gonna share our love story, how we met, where we were before we met, and where we are now. What year did you say that was? 2014?
That was 2000. Babe, you don't remember the year we met?
No, I don't remember the year.
Oh my god. Okay, so the year was 2014, and I had just gotten out of a rocky relationship, and it had left me a little bit mentally unstable. Basically, I was afraid to get into any other relationship. My mom came up to me one day. She had just started going to Faith Assembly, and she basically told me, hey, you should, come to church and, gain a group of friends and go out and hang out and not be home every day, just doing nothing, playing video games and stuff. And every time she would ask me, I would shoot it down. I wasn't very close to God. I was probably the most distant from God. It was always like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, but never really prayed or anything like that. And I never really talked to God or anything like that or thought of him. Then one day my mom comes up to me and she says, the college age ministry is having a conference if you wanted to go. And I basically said, oh no, I don't know anybody, it'd be uncomfortable, I don't think I'm gonna go. Because I don't know what they'd say about my piercings or whatever. And I don't want them to think bad about me or like judge me or whatever. And that's when my mom looked at me, she was like, dude, the guy who told me about it had tattoos all over. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then I couldn't really do anything about it then. So I told her, yeah, go ahead, buy the ticket or whatever, and I'll go. Thinking that she probably wasn't gonna buy it or anything. And then about a week or two later, she tells me, hey, I bought the ticket, you're going. And I'm like, dang it. So now I have to go. Okay.
In 2014, I guess in a way, like, it was off to a good start, and then I was just kind of at a point in my life where I just spiritually wasn't doing well at all. I didn't want to go to church anymore. I didn't want to be a Christian anymore. It was just a really, really dark time in my place. I wasn't even sure if I believed in God anymore. I wasn't sure if he was real. I wasn't sure if it was something that I had just been doing my entire life that was just a joke. I wasn't sure, and so I think deep down inside I knew it was real. I knew that I've had these experiences with God that cannot be explained. With that deep down inside me, I still kind of forced myself to go to church every once in a while, and my church had announced that the college age ministry was having the Voice Conference. They had only done it once before, the year before, in 2013, and I went to one night of it and it was amazing. When they announced that they were doing it again, I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this will bring me out of my dark place, out of this rut that I've been in. And so I forced myself to go.
So the first day of it, I didn't know what to expect. It was all the way on the other side of Orlando. I didn't know anybody, and I walk up. One of the first people that I see is Brian, and then I'm like, oh, I've seen him at Colonial before. Okay, so maybe it's all right. So I start talking to some other people and meet them, and then I start talking to Brian. He's kind of, introducing me to the place or whatever, and I decide to stand at the door with him as people walk by. And I was there for like 10 minutes, and then I see this girl walk by, and I had to like double take. Like I saw her, and then I turned around and I saw her again, and I was like, dang, okay, like she's really pretty, like okay. And I didn't know that she would end up being the person who hung out with the group of people that I would end up hanging out with all the time. The first night after the conference was over, I came back home. I went to sleep, and it was weird. I had this dream, and it was weird. It was like I've never had it before, and it was about this girl, Crystal, obviously. And I don't know. I saw her in a new light. I don't know why. It was probably God sending me like messages in my dream or something. But she felt completely different, like something I had never experienced before. So I'm like, wow, I really have to get to know this girl. I really want her to be my girlfriend.
I showed up. I remember coming to the front door, and I think it was Shirley Mart, and she was introducing people at the front door. And so she introduced me to Gabe, and I remember seeing him in like this really nice like black shirt, and he had the cutest face. And then immediately, like what any Christian girl would think is like, oh, is this my future husband? But I was like, no, I'm not here for that right now. So I can't do that. I need to focus on Jesus. So I kind of just like set that aside or whatever. I'm like, oh, like cute guy, whatever. And I thought he was with someone. I thought he knew people. And then later on, Brian came up to me, my friend, and he was like, oh, there's a new guy, and I told him to sit with us. And I was like, okay, cool. And so it ended up being him. So he like became part of our group of friends that day, and we would go out to eat and sit together during service. And I didn't really think much of it. It was just some new guy in our group, and it was great.
And then the conference was over and everything. But then I started going to church, and I'd see her there, and I'd sit next to her. I'd have my Bible open, and we would read from the same Bible. And I didn't really have her as a friend. I think I did have her as a friend on Facebook. But it took me a while. It took me a couple weeks to work up the courage to message her on the Facebook Messenger. And then we started talking here and there, and it was all friendly or whatever. And then
after the boys' conference, we told him like, hey, you should come to church. It'd be great. And I remember eventually his car broke down, and I had to pick him up a couple of Sundays in a row, which I didn't mind. It was good, even though he lived far. But so in that way, we kind of like started developing a friendship within the group of friends. And I wasn't really sure how I felt about him at first, because I'm also the type of person where I don't like to jump into things very quickly. I like for friendships to develop and then maybe think about something. So we started developing a friendship. Eventually, our friend Jordan was the new guy in the group now. It was no longer Gabe. And he like really quickly became a part of the group. And then it was weird that within the group, there was just our group. So it was just me, Gabe, and Jordan, and we would hang out all the time. We'd go to the movies, we'd just hang out, we'd like go to each other's houses. It was great. So that group of friends was like super, super close, and we just learned so much about each other, about how much we had in common. Like we would think the same things at the same time and say the same things at the same time. It was really, really odd to say, but it was really, really cool.
Our friendship truly blossomed when we met our other friend Jordan, and during that time, I realized that I had a lot in common with her and with Jordan and stuff, and it was great. And I started falling more and more for her. I always knew that I wanted her as my girlfriend, but I just really knew it then, and I would try and I guess court her, maybe get her, but not make it too obvious. So I would do things like open the door for her. I would pay for her without her, without even asking her. I would just go ahead and do it, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." And I'd be like, "Yes, I had to do that." It's just me being polite or whatever. And there came a point where me and Jordan had gone to a concert, and he told me, I think it was if I liked Crystal, and I told him, yeah, I like him, and he asked him, I'm like, is it obvious? And then he's like, no, not really. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, because I kind of like her too, and I guess, try and make her his girlfriend. So I'm like, oh, okay. And, I really liked her, and at that point I realized, maybe if she's happy, because I thought she liked him too. So I realized, maybe if that's what makes her happy, then that's who she should be with. So I stepped aside and I let them do their thing, I guess.
I started to think that I was developing feelings for him, but I wasn't really sure, and it was just kind of like, it was this weird feeling where like, we had only known each other for like a couple months, but it felt like we knew each other for like years. Like we felt super, super close. I've never experienced that kind of connection with someone before. I also started to notice that, like, me personally, like my personality and the way that I portray myself in front of him was different than I would with anyone else. Like at home, I'm super silly, but I only do that like with my parents and my sister. Like even some of my best friends haven't really seen that side of me. But with this guy that I've only known for a couple of months, all of a sudden it was just like this natural thing was just to express myself, 100% myself. So I think to me that was a sign. That was a sign where like, you know, like what is this? Why is this happening? So I was like, maybe I like him. I don't know. This is weird.
I think there was a point where I came over so that she could help me with my math class because I had failed it once. And sorry, Mom, if you see this, yes, I did fail math class. And I had gone to her house to have her help me with math or whatever. I was retaking it, trying to pass it. And you know, after I finished my math or whatever, we were there playing games and stuff, and we started playing like little hand games like patty cake or whatever. And I remember this one time we both messed up at the same time, and I remember like we were just there laughing at each other, staring at each other. I also remember our hands never like separated, and we kind of like clenched hands, and like at that moment I just felt it like in my heart. I was like no, I really like this girl and I have to get her. Like
I remember he came over my house because he needed help with math, and I'm great at math and he is not. So I decided to help him out. So he came over, and I remember I was like in pajamas, I had no makeup on. It was just, you know, just like a regular thing at my house, but he was there. And I was helping him, and then after we were done with the homework, we were playing some games, and I remember we played a patty cake game. I don't really know how to explain it, but there was like one point where like we both messed up and we just started laughing, but we were like looking at each other like dead in the eyes. And that was the moment where like, holy crap, I like this guy. Like I really, really like him. I really want to be with him. Like it was just this weird like awe moment.
So we started talking again, and as in me trying to get her, and it got to the point where Jordan was like, you know what, I think you should go after her because it's obvious that you still like her. I did feel bad, but I'm like, okay, so you know, I'm gonna try and go for her now that I have Jordan's approval, I guess. I worked my way through everything, talked to her, joked with her, made her laugh, you know, did things for her, drove from my house all the way to get her Cold Stone one night and then bring it to her house and then go back home. I did a lot of things for her to try and court her and, you know, get her to fall for me. And then we were messaging like at this point like all the time, always, and I still didn't know if she liked me because there would be times where she would call me dude, and then I'd feel like, oh man, I'm getting friend zoned here. Every time she would call me dude, like my confidence would just like drop. I'm like, oh man, like am I gonna ever be able to get this girl? Because I've heard, you know, that she's very, you know, picky with who she likes, and you know she's rejected a lot of people, and that it's hard, you know, to be in a relationship with her. So I was really worried, and I was like, I don't want to get friend zoned. I really like this girl. There's something about her, you know, that I really, you know, that I really like, and there's something special about her. So
After that, I remember telling my friends about him, and I remember praying about it a lot, and I was like, this is so weird, like why is this happening? And then Valentine's Day was coming around, and I was like, I don't know if he's gonna ask me. My friends were asking me if he was gonna ask me. I wasn't sure because he wasn't asking me. So I think a couple days before Valentine's Day, he had asked me if I wanted to like just hang out with him during the day. It wasn't like, hey, will you be my Valentine? It was just like a normal hangout kind of thing. So I was like, I think this is it, but I'm not sure. And we had already planned to hang out later on that night with our friend Jordan for a concert. And so I was like, yeah, sure. So we went rock climbing, an indoor rock climbing place. It was really, really cool. And we got some food, and then we went to the concert. And I remember also that day he brought me flowers and a card kind of like confessing everything, kind of, and just kind of like, will you be my Valentine? Which obviously I said yes because it was what I wanted. So I remember like it kind of was like, okay, yeah, like we really like each other, and we kind of like let each other know.
Valentine's Day of 2015. This all happened like within a couple months. We scheduled because I hadn't asked her like be mine or anything, or told her it was an official date. So we decided to go to this rock climbing place, and also to a concert that me, her, and Jordan were going to go to. But first we were going to go to the rock climbing. That was like our Valentine's Day date. So we decided to do that, and it wasn't until all the way at night that I asked her to be my Valentine, and she said yes, and I was so excited. I kind of knew at that point that, you know, she would say yes, and that, you know, that she was gonna be my girlfriend. She said she wanted to take a while and pray about it and make sure that, you know, it was the right thing to do, and I was totally for that. I'm not gonna push anyone to be in a relationship with me.
I remember we kind of talked about it. I told him I wanted to pray some more, because I've always been the type of person where like I don't get into a relationship unless I feel like that's the one that God wants for me. So I had been single for about 6 years before that, and without sounding cocky, I've had options and I just completely denied them because I always prayed about it, and I always felt like God said no, and I didn't want what God didn't want. So I purposely did not pursue those kind of relationships. And but with him, like with Gabe, like I prayed about it, and I don't know how to really explain it, but it was like this sense of peace, and I haven't felt like that whenever I prayed about any other guy. It was just kind of like this piece of like, this is what God wants. And it was just like God's way of saying yes to me. And I was like, oh my God. And I know that if he's saying that, then this is the person that I'm going to be with for my entire life. Like, I know that. So I kind of really knew that like he was the one for me as soon as that happened. So as soon as God was like, yeah, this is the one I have for you. And then I decided, yeah, let's do this. Let's be boyfriend and girlfriend.
And then after that, like our relationship just skyrocketed, and it just took off. Like, we were always together, we were always hanging out, we did everything together. Even before we were boyfriend girlfriend, like we were always together hanging out. And so yeah, so our relationship just went from like great friends to like great boyfriend and girlfriend, and it was just amazing.
I remember telling him he can't propose until at least 2 years of dating, which he agreed. Didn't like it, but he agreed. So we dated for 2 years, and then he proposed at church in front of all of our friends and family, which was great. And now, a year later, we are 1 month away from getting married. We've bought a house, and we're in the process of decorating and just like organizing our life together, which is amazing. And I'm really, really excited for everything that's gonna be in store for our journey.
2 years after we became boyfriend and girlfriend, I proposed to her at Faith Assembly, and she became my fiance. And a year later, here we are, and we're a month away from our wedding. So we are very excited for our wedding, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with her and grow old and do absolutely everything with her, because she is my partner and my soulmate.
Yeah, so if you like this type of video, just let us know. You can leave a comment down below just kind of saying how great this video was, because I know it was pretty awesome. And then subscribe to my channel.
Hit the bell so that you get notifications whenever she drops some fire video.
Oh yeah, every month, once a month.
Once a month.
And if there's any other videos that you would like to see, if you want more of something that's just us two, we can do that. If you want less music and more love, then that's great. And just leave us some comments of suggestions of other types of videos. We can do like a Q&A, or we can do like a game. We can do, you know, whatever you guys are kind of interested. So yeah, I believe that is it.
That is it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, and support the YouTube.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye. Leave.
Leave.
Bye.